Happy Saturday, January 24th, 2026. How are my favorite people in the world doing? The traders that follow my weekend report. So here it is, guys. We're going to talk about indices, stocks, and metals that I follow. If there's something that you would like me to cover on this weekend update, put it down there in the comments and we'll consider adding it into the report. So without further ado, we'll start with indices. All right, the NASDAQ, as you can see, the white vertical line shows us the close of last Friday, where we had all the information from our last weekend update. We opened down and dropped. Really, no surprise here, guys. Just covering what I anticipated. We were previously running this upper channel, and we kind of dropped through it, and we're running this a little bit of wider channel. And one thing you're noticing is we're setting uh, higher lows in this channel, which is forming kind of a wedge, ascending wedge, and adding pressure to this resistance zone where it's been clear resistance for a while now. And you can see anytime you have wicks above, that means there's a lot of sellers present. So we have sellers present in around this 25,736 to, we'll call it 878. And we fell short of that this week. Does that mean that we won't break it? No. The more times we tap it, the weaker it gets. But I would anticipate, with some of the uncertainty going on in the world with tariffs on, tariffs off, war with Iran, no war with Iran, we're taking Greenland by force. No, we're not taking Greenland by force. And now the latest information that we have today is that we're going to tariff Canada 100% if they do a deal with China. So all that, I really don't see any more than a move in and out of this channel again in the coming week outside of any catalyst. If world peace breaks out, then we may head up. If we get some war type movement, I could see we break down. But again, on the close, I don't think I think support right now is, and these anchored VWAPs are all off of significant throwbacks we had. Like this is the throwback from August, the anchored VWAP, and that's the current channel we're running. Then we look to price, right? So this anchored VWAP and then the price below that. If we see lower, there'd be another significant pullback, and this is the one from April of last year, down to 23,212. But I'm seeing a lot of pressure being applied to the zone. Once it breaks, guys, I anticipate kind of getting trapped in this smaller price range where we break through, hit resistance at the all-time high, probably oscillate for it to make a decision out or up, or I'm sorry, out or down, right? Up or down. Um, Anticipate channeling is basically all I'm saying. SPX, little similar in the fact that we're setting higher lows as we're continuing to trend up into this resistance. So we are uptrending definitely, but that uptrend is decelerating a little bit against that all-time high resistance zone at 7,000 that I had called. Actually, if you follow me long enough, I didn't think we would overcome 7,000. We may, but we certainly have not yet. And I still think that there's shorts available if you like playing any of the S&P 500 products as we approach that 7,000. I think there's going to be another rejection before we break it. Once we break 7,000 and bulls are on parade, you want to watch that flip and then retest. So let's say we get up to like 7,100, 7,150, and then we come down and retest to see if that holds, to see if the market continues up. But at some point, guys, this can't last forever, right? So this is still our resistance point. We have anchored VWAP support at 6,800 and below, and then 6,720. Once we break 6,720 and get back down sub 6,700, we kind of break this uptrend a little bit. So the uptrend is intact. So you got to know when it breaks, right? So it breaks if we, it would help if I do this right. Breaks would start to break down if we sweep out this low at 6720, and certainly would be considered broken if we break below 65,200. Would probably be the new confirmation of a downturn in the market if we start to do this, right? And I'm not saying that happens now, but the key point is 7,000 is definitely strategic resistance right now. And we're just going to be bouncing around as we have these good catalysts, bad catalysts, good catalysts, bad catalysts. So we're seeing this in all the indices that it's just ping ponging back and forth. What I'd recommend on any stock that you own is just start tightening. I don't have NVIDIA on this report, but I said that NVIDIA was I bought on that drop that we saw in the markets back in April, way back here where everything dropped. I bought NVIDIA. I wanted to hold it for a long time, but a lot of negative catalysts come out NVIDIA. So I tightened and got kicked out at 182.50. We did drop below that nearly to 179, and then now it's back up about 187. But I think the fat lady's singing on some of NVIDIA's cooking the books information. I think Google is going to be your clear winner in 2026, taking their market share. So that's where I'm looking to transition my money. We are going to cover that on the report. The Russell 2000, guys, what do we say here? Let me look right here. Here was your drop at the end of the year, and look what has happened since. Look at that. January effect. That is where small cap stocks, more years than not, outperform the rest of the markets. And that certainly is true here. Although we do have a significant throwback. I did call the resistance zone at 2,700 at an all-time high. We broke that, nearly went up to 2,738 and then sold very strongly down on that. You can see my matrix indicator is calling an early an initial weakness in this. And this is actually a very significant candle that it's very full. I don't have the volume on here. Let's throw it on real quick, because price and volume are really all that matter. And that's pretty significant volume, but it's not significant enough for it to be a reversal. We would have had to swept these previous high and see volume like we see here. So more likely than not, if it continues down and we still have another week left of the January effect, this is just going to be discount buying on any Russell 2000 products. We may kind of travel to the bottom near this buy zone at the top of it. I have at 26.15, bounce back up. And actually, that's a little inaccurate. My guess is we're going to come in here and we could get trapped like we're seeing in the other indices as we exit January for it to make a decision, either up because the Trump effect is just going to boost the markets all 2026, or the party's over, right? And I wish my crystal ball was clear enough, guys, that I could tell you. But right now, we can only predict what we predict. And right now, I'm predicting channeling for a decision. So again, if you have questions about any of this, guys, you can always throw them down there in the comments, and I'll answer them in that, or I'll answer them on the next video. So Google is what I think is going to be a winner this year, based on the information that Meta is buying their products from them. Now they're talking about Apple is going to be using Gemini, so they're going to be getting a lot of the AI market share. This is good for them. So my buy box still stands. You can see the white line represents the last time I had a video. And I said, I like this buy box. And actually it tapped right into about 319. That buy zone is 298, which represents this wick, to about 320. So anytime Google dips into that, I'm going to be interested in it. And no, I will not fully allocate. I'll start buying on any drop, because if we get a nice significant drop, I'll buy there too. And we're this all-time high anchored VWAP, you may be hard to see, is red line. We actually closed below it, which tells me we're probably going to head down, and then we come back up to challenge wherever that all-time high anchored VWAP is. So looking for a discount buy, starting to size in on Google or any ETF related to Google. Palantir, no changes here, guys, other than the fact I'm still waiting on this buy zone. You see the buy plan that is still in play. From our last meeting, we were here. Price hasn't done much since then, and that's where it was. So resistance, the all-time high anchored VWAP. The buy zone is down here at the green. It's sitting in the middle. I don't want to do anything with it until it closes above or taps and confirms below. Oklo, all right, is same thing, guys. Oklo has a significant anchor VWAP off of a throwback before, but the all-time high anchor VWAP. This is the resistance zone that I had set more than a week ago. There's our week that kind of shows you the candles that we have in play. Did I get that right? Wednesday, Thursday? No, I did not. I was a week off. Right. There we go. So I can remove this one. That just shows you, like, you can see a week's worth of data, right? Because this is daily candles. Overhead resistance is this box. We are approaching downside support with weakening momentum. Guys, my matrix indicator takes into calculation about 6 things. Instead of having my charts just clustered with other TA, I built a proprietary system based on my education and experience that just does color coding. And it says shifting downward momentum, which tells me we're probably going to come down and test this $75 zone, where I'm interested in Oklo again as a buy. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Right now it's in the middle of that. I don't see it as a buy yet, either close above or tap below. Kind of a universal theme there, guys. When it's sitting in the middle, I wait. I'd rather a clear indication and read. Right now, buying is just simply a fundamental buy and hoping that it climbs in price. And you could be right. but you could also endure some drawdown on a pullback to 75. So I'd rather wait for a clear signal. MP metals, this is a buy, guys. I said it last week. It gave the buy signal off this. Two critical VWAPs, most critical being the all-time high anchored VWAP. We closed above it and held that. We pierced it and then regained it Thursday and then held it again Friday. So this is actually looking good. We do have strong momentum on this. So this is the trade plan, right? So if you buy in around this VWAP, we'll call it anywhere from 65 to 66. You can put a stop loss. Now that we have this wick, I would hide below that wick at like 61 and then try to run this back up. But understand you're going to have resistance in this red field, which represents this gap up, because gaps provide support and resistance. So this could be TP area 1 or TP area 2 at that all-time high itself, or beta trail it. It's called a chandelier. Trail it, try to stay outside the width of the daily candles to ride this longer. So right now, MP Metals is a buy. Again, guys, none of this is financial advice. This is for me to show you what I'm seeing and what I'm considering, and for you to do your own due diligence. All right. BBAI, what I began to do on some of these, because quantum and AI should be clear winners. There's a lot of talk that they're in a bubble. This is true. We may see some throwbacks, but guys, the way the world is moving towards AI, there's going to be some winners here. So you need to allocate across the sector to hit the winner. What I've done in here is I've also, with my education, I'm part of a group of other research analysts and people with CMT level quants that do analytics. And I'm going to share some of that information with you on the screen. But I have the green zone between 5 and 6 is a buy. I bought it at 550. My stop loss is 399. I will buy more if we test this zone here. I have one more allocation I'll buy, but I'm heavily allocated into this. And I've been in the money, just outside the money, in the money, just outside the money. And I actually won't move my stop loss, which is this red line, to break even until we close above 750. Then I'll go break even, because this is one I'd like to hold for a long time. So I just have to endure this. And why is it channeling? Well, the thing is it's all been hyped to this point, and we have to wait for the fundamentals of the company to pay out. We get good earnings reports, we get good deals, government contracts. This is how these all work out. You don't believe me? Go look at the history of Palantir. I'm hoping that these AI stocks, or when we pick the winner, will be like Palantir in 5 years, when we flirted around these prices, and I traded it for flirted around these prices in Palantir for a number of years, and then it skyrocketed to almost $200. Right? I think wherever it sits right now, it's 169, right? But anyway, so BBAI analysts have this as a buy. You can see they're recommending buy with an average price target of $7, with a low being 6 and a high being 8. And remember, price targets, guys, are what they're projecting for a price from 1 year from now, right? And they will make adjustments quarterly, but the current price target is $8. But I want you to notice that low price target by these other analysts are right where we're at now. So my buy zone is appropriate. And even at $8, that's a pretty significant gain, 25% on your money if it doesn't rise any higher than that. Pony is a little bit better in the fact that this was a buy 2 weeks ago. And let me move this ahead 2 weeks. 26, 16. So here's our last meeting. Remember what I said? I said this white and red line here is the all-time high in the IPO anchor VWAP. That crossed 2 weeks ago was a very strong buy into this resistance zone and through with momentum. We have pulled back to retest that level, and it held. So this green box, so it's a buy anywhere high 14s to mid 15s, and then it cleared this resistance zone again. So this resistance zone is very weak. It's based off of these other candles as part and parcel of why it's there. But so I like it at these pricings, especially if you can get it close to $15, stop loss commensurate to what your risk is. But you can see analysts don't have this as a buy. They have it as a strong buy with an average price target of 22. And you can see my price target on this was about 21.5. So I'm not too far off from the peers in my industry. And they have it as a high of 29, low of 15, which is the bottom of that buy zone, guys. Experts like me see these same numbers. This isn't by accident. And then the average price of 22. So they're all calling this a buy. So do with that information what you'd like. QBTS is very similar in the fact that on price targets, but this resistance zone, all-time high and critical anchored VWAP at 29, it's tried to cross it, it tries to hold it, and then it fails, but I think a discount's coming in, and you can see as we bounce down with negative momentum, the aggressively bearish momentum, we could see this VWAP at 21.92, so we'll call it $22 even, or it would be great at 20. So we're somewhere between 20 and 22. I do own this from $8, and again, I'm trying to hold it a long time. My stop loss, guys, is right here at this wick. So I'm going to put my stop loss, and I used to have it, and I don't know why I moved it, but it's I want to hide below this wick because price is the first thing that creates support and resistance. So there's my stop loss. This one I will not add more. I'm nicely allocated into it, but what I want to share with you is what other analysts are saying. Again, they have this listed as a very strong buy, even more than Pony, and this is 15 analysts on this. They have a high of 48, which is just above its all-time high. The average is 32 and the low is $12. So $12, I bought it at 8, would kick me out of my trade, and that's fine. I may consider buying back in, but that average is $32, and as it sits, it's at 25. We can buy it at 20 to 22. That is a nice increase. Again, do your own due diligence. So if you bought in around this area, you put what I would recommend, that buying in around here would be a stop loss right below my red line, also below that wick. Try to run it up into top price target 1. There's price target 2 at 37, we'll call it 38, and then back into all-time high, or analysts have it at 48. Or see if you can just hold it in perpetuity and foster it with a trailing stop. So I'm not too far off of what my industry peers are calling on this also. The technicals are the technicals, right? IonQ, same thing here, guys. It is range bound between the all-time high and this critical buy zone that I've called everybody or alerted everybody is. So I like a buy zone off this VWAP. You can see once we crossed it here, we've tested it once, tested it twice. We almost tested it here again. We may test it again. So we're going to call it a buy between 44 and 46 on the upper part, but really a lot of support here at 37. So a buy in around here, you would have a price, a take profit. 1 would be 56.27 as a price, we'll call it 56. And then if you want to run that back up, you look at the next price zone 65 and then to its all-time high. My peers are very bullish on this. They have the low estimate on this at 47, which is where it sits right now. So they don't see it dropping much. The median price is 73 and the high is 100, right? On the high end. So this is all discount, significant discounts. If this is going to run to 100, you're getting a 50% discount on this. So analysts see this as a lot of potential. One more in that space of quantum, QUBT, that's quantum computing. Same thing, guys. I don't have a buy zone below it. I have a buy line. So anywhere, we'll call it, $9.50 to $11 would be, let's go ahead and throw that in there now. So we're going to say right in here, I think is a decent buy zone for it. And we've tapped into it once already. We have declining momentum. We might get that on a market sell-off. If the markets open this week with negativity with Canada as kind of a flash sell-off, this is going to provide discounts. Right now, guys, until the markets prove to us otherwise, we are bullish and we buy discounts, right? Once it turns bearish, I'll be on top of how to short these markets and how to look to exit trades, right? As an example, anybody's an expert in a bullish market. Anybody can make money by throwing a dart at a stock chart and hitting a stock, but only true savages make money in a bearish market. And you want to make sure you like, subscribe, and follow because I'll be on top of it. I did very well in 2022 when the markets were bearish the entire year. So again, a buy in this zone, doing your own due diligence, buying somewhere in there. You can have a stop loss right below it and then run it. TP1 would be about $15, and then TP2 and 3 way above that. And these, what do analysts say about it? My peers, they have it listed as a strong buy with an average price target of 18. The low is 12, average price 18, and the high is 25. So there you go. Again, remember, all these are included in baskets of stocks, the indices, whether it be the Russell 2000, the S&P 500, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, right? So if we get downward pressure on all of them, that will affect this. But the markets could be running, if we get downward pressure on AI or quantum, these could run opposite. So you have market pressure, sector pressure, and then individual stock pressures and catalysts. So They could be bullish or bearish based on, what's happening on those three things. And we'll definitely keep an eye out on them. So again, if you have a few dollars to allocate, then you just buy across some of these winners and size in, because it's my belief that in 5 years we'll be talking about, hey, you remember that trade that we talked about? We bought Pony, it died, went out of business, so I lost a little bit there. But BBAI, you remember when it's $5? Look at it; it's $212 now. We can laugh about it, right? If you've been in the markets long enough, like I have, you will see these will happen, guys. But you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket in case you don't pick the winner. You spread it out, and then definitely foster your trade accordingly. Let's get into metals. A lot to talk about in metals to wrap up our weekend report. And again, guys, any questions, comments, throw them down there underneath, and we'll look at it. I'll consider putting other tickets in the report. I like to keep the report relatively short, under 20 minutes if I can, because I respect your time and watching. I mean, who wants to listen to this guy bloviate anyway? So XAU, guys, gold. And I want to do these on the hourly. You can see how extremely bullish it is, but you can see how hard it is to see everything. If you're a swing trader, you shouldn't get any closer than an hour on the time frames, but I think this really illustrates well what I'm seeing. So let me manipulate the charts here. Significant resistance at 5,000, although we are forming an ascending triangle into it, which has about a 68% chance of breaking upward, but we do have declining volume. So when you're seeing compression at a key level with declining volume, it doesn't break it the first time. So we could come close to 5,000 and then have a small percentage sell off before we run back through. And that would be your opportunities at 2, 4, 5% sell off. We could see a sell off as much as to 4,900 or 4,875 for a potential re-entry off that sell off. So I wouldn't buy gold right now. I would buy it on a sell off, or I'd buy on confirmation it has broke that key level, retested it. So you buy the 5,000 and then ride it upward if it goes to 6 and 7,000 respectively. I'm not saying it will, but if you do, right now I don't buy it at 49.87. I buy down here or right here after confirmation. So, but the key number here in spot is 5,000, which is a zone that's 49.85 to 5,015. I told my private clients that box is probably wider because 5,000 is so significant. I said it's probably as wide as 75. And I think we saw the first throwback start actually, yeah, right here at almost 70. So that resistance could have been a bit wider. People exiting ahead of everybody else because that dropped relatively decently before rerunning. And we'll see another drop. We just don't know where it is. Is it higher to drop down to the key level, or is it at the key level to drop down to rerun it, right? Those are two areas you need to watch. If we break above it strongly, then watch for the retest of the level. If we get resistance at that level, buy the retest down here to run it right back up. Silver did exactly what we thought it would do. What I called that zone 99 to 100. So I was absolutely correct in that. But where I was wrong, happy to tell you where I was wrong. I thought the percentage throw it back would be higher. But with the difference between East and West pricing silver, where you have the Asian exchanges 25% higher, it's just lifting the price. So I said there'd be resistance at 99. Look at this. It hit 99.35 and threw back almost 2.5%. And then it just ran through with strong momentum, right? So volume did decline. You saw it. I thought it might reverse at my 101 number. It looked like it towards the end of the day Friday, and then it just buyers stepped in and the volume stepped up. So our next opportunity, guys, really is on a 4 to 10% throwback. So I want to show you that math. 4%, look right here, puts us kind of right around $99. 7%, 7.5% takes us to this critical anchored VWAP at 95. 10% takes us down to 93. And if for some reason we saw 91 again, I think that's going to be very good, because all that'll be is profit take for a rebuy. It is so bullish now, it may not be that high a percentage throwback, but that's your next opportunities. I fully anticipate, even if it runs up even higher here by a few dollars, it to test that red box again. So if we do run up, right, and then come back and test that box and go, you folks that have are long silver from lower prices, what you do is you start walking your stop loss up. Once we clear this box, test it positively that it holds, you just hide your stop loss right below that and then just keep riding it up, right? So you hide stop losses below support zones. You buy on confirmation of support zones. You take profit at resistance zones, right? I have plenty of opportunities for you guys to learn this from me. You could always reach out and I'll tell you where to get that information. So there you have it on silver. Any questions, you can throw them down there in the comments. Platinum, I'm a little disappointed here, to be quite frank with you. I bought this on a swing right here last Friday at 23.25, and I tried to stay in it, and this wick right here threw me out, and it did nothing but ran. I'd be well into the money if I held it, but full disclosure, I'd had a 100-point take profit, and I was absolutely correct, except I took a break-even stop loss. So everybody that knows me knows I love swing trading. Platinum right now, it's not giving me a great opportunity for swing trading. I think right now that is going to be this box. All right, so we're going to call it 2550 to 2600 is where I will look to swing it again. And those that follow me, I will alert you when we see it. This drop off here, incidentally, if you like candle reading, if you can see this candle here, let me highlight it. That candle right there and that volume predicts the next move up. That is a very bullish candle. Now you can't trade candles by themselves alone, but when put with other levels of confluence, it's very strong. So the anchored VWAP off of that, the near-term support is 2680. I would like a better discount down in here so that I could be more confident in a swing trade. Day trade probably up here, swing trade down here. So I'll be on top of you guys. I'm looking at call it 2560 to 20 or 2550 to 2600 is what I would like for the next swing for probably 100 points. A lot of times I do a 1-to-4 risk reward ratio on that. So on my entry, I'll have like a 25-point stop loss and a 100-point take profit. XPD or Palladium, kind of the same thing. It's too overextended right now to buy. We're going to hit resistance. Now this resistance field is kind of an odd price, right? 22,050 to almost 2,100. And that is derived from this recent high of a couple of years in the wick and the sellers that exist there. So I think we're going to retest this and probably hit some resistance. And you can see on this climb, and this is important to see, guys, on this climb, price is up, but volume is not supportive. When volume is not supportive of a climb, there's not enough gas in this rocket to break that. So I'm looking for a discount. I still love this discount area, down around 1800 probably with this wick, maybe a little higher, 1800 to 1850, because Palladium will do this. You can see how hard it sells off when it does this. Like here was a run, there's a 9% sell off. Here was another run. Here is a 10% sell off. So why not be patient and wait for another 10%, which, yeah, like I said, around 1850. And again, I'll be on top of this for you guys. You just wait when they're very bullish like this. You buy these high velocity sells. Now, Palladium and Platinum will give a higher percentage than what gold or silver is doing. So they're happy to give 10%, whereas we might only get 4 to 5% out of gold and silver. Copper, we were all over this for everybody. Copper, kind of a colorful chart for you guys to see. I'll explain it. These green boxes have been historic buy zones that I've been calling for everybody. I said 560 to 565 in my last video. And that was, let me move this down so you guys can see where that was in time. Oh, no, that was in the correct spot. Sorry. Yep. So after my last video, price was here. I said, I like it if we get 560 to 565. It pulled down to 562. A number of traders bought and are well back into the money, including me. I bought this and did very well. I did exit trade, took the cash to run. But it's looking good here. Same thing. I would like to see a throwback into around 580. But $6 and upward is going to start to be significant resistance as we hit those all-time highs. So waiting for a throwback on this one, and it's probably going to be 575 to 580 near term. Right now we're at 587. That doesn't seem like much, but that's a lot of movement for copper. They're projecting copper to be 10 and $11. So kind of hard to squabble over 10 cents, right? Even if you bought now, right? But I do expect significant resistance here at the all-time high, guys. So even if it blows up on us, it hits this, I expect there to be a throwback and then a rerun, and then we will buy and measure that throwback in one of the future reports, or I'll post it daily in the folks that follow me. So in the interest of keeping these short, that is the weekend update for indices, the stocks that I follow, and metals. Again, if you have questions or if you'd like to see a stock on here that is of importance, and I get enough people that want to see it, I'll definitely throw it on the report and review it. I typically do the ones that I trade and call, because I think it's powerful when you have an analyst like me who talks about where they put their very own money, not just an analyst that says, yeah, put your own money over there. That's all good. Right. So for most of these, I invest in, right? So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. And as always, guys, I love you followers. I love educating you and helping you guys, and most importantly, seeing you guys succeed. And congratulations, you guys are killing it. We'll see you on the next report, guys.